Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, and I have some of the most exciting news in the 4 decades I have been in the trenches, quote unquote, challenging the de facto territorial government and federal regional martial law jurisdiction. For the first time, there has been, quote unquote, opposition to one of my pleadings, only this was not, quote unquote, as advertised by the Office of the Merced District Attorney, aka dumbass in my lingo, in that their original description was of a 60-page brief, which I simply could not imagine. Indeed, on receipt, it turned out to be about 30 pages, but even this was way off, as their boilerplate BS brief was only 10 pages, 2 of which were title pages, and with only citations to a handful of horse hockey decisions of California quote-unquote courts, all of which were based on the non-existent 14th quote-unquote War Amendment, with 0 decisions from the U.S. Supreme Court. My brief they were opposing was 29 pages, and not even my best effort, yet it contains 30 case law decisions, 29 of them from the U.S. Supreme Court, any one of which preempts all of their allegedly applicable authorities. The net effect here is astounding, most particularly for any of my developmental offensive action protocols, to the point where a complaint not even have to be filed. And this is the hardest part of the process, since even a classroom full of my proverbial 4th graders, let alone a jury, will be able to lay my brief and their brief side by side, so both will be relevant and admissible in such offensive actions, and judge for themselves who knows the law and who doesn't. Even better, with my record in support of the record in your case, the odds on surviving the ever quote-unquote reliable summary ex parte 12b6 motion to dismiss change very much in our favor, and leaving them without any affirmative defenses or quote-unquote judicial immunity. Hard to put numbers on this, but about 95% of civil rights cases, which is not what I do, get tossed into the circular file at the first opportunity, often with the victims being sanctioned for filing quote-unquote frivolous actions. In Vegas now, the odds would seem to me a lot closer to 5-2 in our favor. And if we go to trial, it gets much worse, since the jury would then be comparing my unopposed 77-page brief on admission of new states, which contains 70 decisions of the U.S. Supreme Court, making the count 70-0 in our favor. Can you say punitive and exemplary damages, changes in the way business gets done? This is where my peculiarly strong expertise in the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States comes into play to quote-unquote convince the bastards to get the checkbook out and make a settlement commensurate with the magnitude of what a jury could easily define to be a pernicious, pervasive pattern and practice of premeditated, criminal, nay treasonous violations of rights secured by all 6 articles of the Constitution, even in a traffic quote-unquote court. Change the way they do business and be done with it. And on top of this, we have tremendous leverage because any one of our cases decided on the record, most particularly by the U.S. Supreme Court, either sets a binding precedent for all like-situated victims of the just us system, or forces the Supreme Court to admit openly to the American people that the Constitution does not exist and or is not enforceable, except maybe by the Wall Street banksters. I do not think that even legal quote-unquote luminaries like Ruth Bader Ginsburg would even consider making such an admission and confession. Even worse for them, one of the victims would have status and standing to file criminal charges, including treason to the Constitution, which I would strongly encourage, and we'll see how many of the bastards it takes to quote-unquote earn a suspended sentence, quote-unquote, from a jury of the type unlawfully meted out to Mary E. Surratt, for the restoration of our constitutional lawful government to take place. I hope you can see the problem as I have here, being at one and the same time a pathological pessimist, yet I can't see any way out for the bastards with the protocols which I have developed. You can learn more about the acquisition of my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. Please email me at youwinnincourt@gmail.com for more information. Thank you.